Welcome back to Fear and Beer, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. Join us as we venture year-round into the fog.
Make sure you give us a like and a follow on your podcast platform of choice. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube page where we upload every episode in its video format, and maybe a few other surprises as well.
Make sure you're following us on social media to keep up to date with our newest haunted content.
I'm Nick.
I'm Seamus.
I'm Jamie.
It doesn't really feel right if I open this particular episode, so I think, Seamus, I think the floor is yours for just a quick little bit while we get started here.
I don't even know how to do it. To be honest with you, in 5 years, I've never really opened before. What's going on, everybody? We're here.
What are we talking about today?
Was that loud? We got it. We got the announcement that at least I've been waiting for. I know that there's a few people that have been waiting for it, so I'm not going to take all of the joy and credit for it, but you know, hey, what can I say? My favorite video game property of all time. We're getting it. We're getting a house. Well, let me get ahead of myself. We're getting something.
No, this one's a house. This one's a house.
They announced that it was a house. All right,
this
cool.
was a house. Yes.
All right, cool.
They did tiptoe around
pumped.
like the other, quote unquote announcement that we'll be talking about.
Well, we're getting Fallout. That's exciting. It's really exciting. I'm super happy about that. Obviously, it's the show, so with the release of the image that we got, it's Walton Goggins and then the two other actors, and I'm terrible with names, and I'm totally sorry that I forgot
Ella
them.
Something and
really great actors. I'm sorry, I just don't remember names. But either way, we got the show theme or theming for the house, so that's kind of expected. I know we're jumping right into it, but doesn't surprise me one bit. But I'm just excited that we actually get to explore the universe. The initial release of the merch for it looks fire, and we'll get into that tonight. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm super pumped, and I'm glad you guys are here to join me and Nick to listen to me not whine for the once.
All right. This is the year of Seamus. It is me and Seamus tonight, kicking it old school. Jamie is she quote unquote forgot we were recording today, and she was quote unquote tired.
Hey, we were told today that her content's the best, so I mean, she gets to do whatever she wants.
Yep. Well, people on Instagram were asking if Seamus was okay when they announced Fallout today.
I'm still alive. We're all good.
He's still here.
Heart's still pumping. A little bit faster, but
yeah, just a little bit. But obviously, we have a lot to talk about today. So not only did we get Fallout, we had this little Five Nights at Freddy's kind of announcement. We'll get into it. We also got single day tickets, Express, RIP tour, Unmasking the Horror. We got the premium Scream night, and probably a couple other little things we'll talk about. And we have to talk about the merch as well. So we do have our work cut out for us tonight. But first, let's get into some beer. I just got back from my little trip home in Massachusetts, and I brought some beers with me. So I'm going to be tapping into Trillium's Fort Point. It's a white can, so it's a little bit harder to see on the screen. But this is one of their kind of flagship beers. It is an American IPA. It's a 6.6% ABV. And if you don't know Trillium, it is probably one of the more well-renowned Massachusetts breweries. I would say Trillium and Treehouse are kind of the 1-2 punch combos for those. I know Sam Adams considers itself an independent brewer, independent, but I don't kind of lump it in with all these other ones. But this is from Canton. It's kind of right outside Massachusetts, or right outside Boston, excuse me. But this is a balanced, light, crisp malt with an abundance of hop-delivered aromatic and flavors, and it's more Citra-based and a little bit of Columbus, and I'm pouring it right into my ever so fancy plastic Halloween Horror Nights beverage cup, which they started to use after the whole Blinky Cup fiasco of last year. I think I found it in the back of my car. It sat there for about 6 months. But I mean, just pouring it, a foot away of it, I can smell it immediately. It's pretty heavy. It's hard to tell the colors of these when I'm on screen because I have just like this little light. It's a pretty dark room, so it doesn't really pick up, but it's pretty true to what's on screen. Oh, and that is just pure New England IPA right there. It's not a NEPA, but I mean, it's an IPA from New England, so it's got a lot of that Citra up front. Mm. Oh man, that's good. Oof. And then Seamus, I brought you some of
You
these
did
as
bring me
well.
some. I know I wasn't quite prepared tonight for
Oh
them.
no,
I
we
have
can
them. They're
space
in
it
my
out.
fridge. They're in my
We can
fridge,
space them out. But
chilling. So right now I'm
this
just
is
drinking
one
a
of your
Silver Bullet.
this is one of your favorite breweries as well,
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah, I love Trillium. Obviously, like when I was in Massachusetts before I moved here, not that I'm not a big craft beer drinker now, but up there I was very much into the scene. I guess we'll call it the community of the craft beer drinkers. So I did a lot of reading up about the different styles and how they're made, and I did a lot of bunch of tours and that sort of thing. Trillium and Treehouse are like the first two that really got me into things that are beyond just your traditional macro light beer. Like obviously, as I got older and I started aging into drinking, I will not get into when that started, but either way, obviously it was drink a whole bunch of light beer because it was cheap and you could afford it. But as I got a little bit older and my tastes kind of got a little more, I don't want to say refined, but I guess that's kind of where I'm going with it. Obviously,
Elevated. You expanded.
yeah, expanded is a better word because it makes me sound pretentious as fuck when I say my name, my tastes got refined. But you know what I'm saying. Obviously, I delved into the world of craft beer, and Treehouse was like the first real big one that I experienced. And this was they had just moved to their oh shit, is it Charlton? I forget what
What's
town it's in, but
Treehouse or
Treehouse. I forget
oh,
where exactly their newer facility. I shouldn't say newer because they've opened another one, but when they moved from their original facility to the new facility, I had started going. And it was at a time where they would release something and you could go in and get what was considered a full allotment or 2 cases of beer, so 48 beers if you wanted to, and that was big at the time because like they hadn't done that before, and that was like the new thing. So we would wait in hour and a half lines just to get specific beer that they released.
no express pass
Obviously
at
now it's a
Treehouse?
lot different. It's a lot more streamlined. You don't wait in lines anymore to get beer, but they were like my first dive in. But Trillium was kind of after I had started really getting into that world and trying all these different things and finding all these different places. Trillium's incredible. They are world class when it comes to their stouts and their sours. Their IPAs are also really really good, award winning. So if you ever have a chance to go to New England, or at least if you're in the beer world and you know people that can get you stuff and send it to you, it's worth checking out because it really is that good. I mean, they do some really limited run sours. Like there's a peach sour that they had that was it's crazy stuff. Usually they come in like the bomber bottles, the bigger bottles, like the milliliter size bottles. Um, but you can get stuff in cans too. It's just really good. But yeah, I mean, I could go an hour and a half on just talking about Trillium and the various breweries in New England. But yeah, Trillium's really good. So if you have a chance to try it, check it out. I know you brought back some stuff for a
A
couple other
couple
people,
people.
so
Yeah.
I know that they'll definitely enjoy it, especially considering they're beer people. So
Mhm. Yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna sort of backtrack because I know today was a big day, but we also had some stuff happen that hasn't been covered yet, and that would be the announcement slash leak, not leak, but somebody got a little over ambitious, Mr. Blum down in Mexico. Uh, this is it's a completely unconfirmed story, but the timeline makes you really question if this was supposed to happen or not. So down in Mexico, they had the CCXP, that's like a Comic-Con experience, and Blum was there with a little panel kind of talking about their slate, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Megan 2, whatever is coming up. And he said something along the lines of, you'll be seeing Five Nights at Freddy's at Halloween Horror Nights this year in some capacity, or something along those lines. I don't have the video in front of me, so I'm just kind of um, summarizing, I guess, what I remember hearing. Um, but that went out onto the internet, and then we got a little blurb at 8:37 on Sunday night, which I find it hard to believe that that is the prime time to start releasing your houses for Halloween Horror Nights. I don't think that that was supposed to happen, but the message was Five Nights at Freddy's is coming in a whole new way to this year's Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights in both Hollywood and Orlando. More details coming soon. I can't particularly remember the first or the last time they did an IP announcement without like saying it's a house and with saying more details coming soon. So that's sort of what leads me to fall in the camp of they kind of just spoke out a term. It got out there. The word got back to Universal, and they're like, "Shit! Like, well, we have to put something out at least." The part that makes people sort of think that this was supposed to happen was when Blum did say that they had a projector screen and they did project the same little logo that Universal posted. But I think Blumhouse and Jason Blum have that already as like an approval thing. I think they may have thought this was already going to have been announced, maybe, or something like that. And they have all of the imagery and stuff in their back end. So whoever pieced it together just might not have known that this wasn't supposed to be out or not. Do you think that this was like an accident?
Probably. I mean, it doesn't sound like it was something that was done intentionally. Especially if it's true that it came from Blum's camp, then I think it was probably more of an accident than anything else. I don't think it was intentionally leaked. I mean, it may have been, but it's not like, we got word that, or potentially that somebody worked for Universal or works for some other third party that was working for them or doing like graphics work, and they just like let it out on the internet because they didn't give a fuck. Like
Yeah.
a couple years ago with the shirt design,
Yeah.
they
Yep,
just
yep,
dropped
yep.
the shirt design on
like,
Universal
whoops.
like that. I feel like this is kind of like, hey, we can drop it on this date, and lines got crossed, and it just happened to come out.
'Cause
I
I
don't think they would
think
have done it intentionally. I don't. I mean, again, we're only going based on what we've heard. This obviously none of this is confirmed or true, or
no,
as
and
far as
they'll
we
never
know.
say
But
whether it was or not.
right, so all we can do is speculate on it, and I don't think that I would be led to believe that it wasn't. It was just an honest mistake.
Yeah. I think without knowing when that panel took place, I'm assuming it took place before the post that went out through the Horror Night socials.
Yeah,
And it just for me, the timing of it just like we said, Sunday night at 8:30. Like what?
it's
That's not
Universal
when
just
you
getting out ahead of it. Is really what they're doing.
that's not when you plan to have big announcements.
Right.
So but the numbers are pretty crazy. This has so far on Twitter, that one announcement is up to 1 million views. And I believe the little video reel that they put out has over 3 million views at this point. So I mean, those are big, big numbers.
Yeah.
I don't have everything else that like the past announcements and stuff in front of me, but what I can show or what I can look up at least, well, no, not Halloween decorations, Halloween Horror Nights. I can look at some of the other posts just to compare. Obviously, Fallout kind of just dropped, but it's actually up there too. So the Fallout announcement is at 1.3 million views on Instagram. The little Five Nights teaser is at 3.3 million already. And then all their other reels are generally, around 100,000 views. So I think that speaks volume of these two properties.
Mhm.
But
There's a lot about
Five
this.
Nights, yeah.
There's a lot about this year already.
Mhm. Yeah.
These are your first two announcements. Even if I think Fallout may have been the first and planned announcement, I think this was the first one they were planning on dropping. But because of the FNAF thing that happened, obviously they had to like come out of the bag and be like, "Yeah, this is happening." But yeah, I mean, just judging by what we're getting already, I think it's already a massive deal because I don't think we've had two strong IP drops like this in a few years, in a couple of years at least.
Yeah. I'd have to look back at when stuff like kind of dropped.
No, because like
but
last year,
these
you
are
wouldn't.
big.
There wasn't anything massive last year outside of maybe the Insidious house, as far as the drops concerned. And the year
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
that, I think they were really banking on obviously The Last of Us, but they were banking on The Exorcist being a huge drop, and it ended up being a good house, but I don't think it was as like people were super stoked on it initially, because it was based on like the new movie that no one had ever seen yet and only had heard about. So I think at least the last 2 years we haven't had like a bang bang 1-2 drop like we've gotten already.
Yeah. No, I think that this is we're off to a very, very strong start, which is exciting. So yeah, so that's the Five Nights at Freddy's. The other part of this debate is their wording on that, saying that it's, experience it in a whole new way. It kind of got people in a panic. They're like, well, what is it? It's not a house. It can't be a house because that's not a new way. My take on it is this is our first time seeing Five Nights at Freddy's as a house.
In
That's
person.
the whole new way. Okay.
Yep.
It's not, don't freak out. It's, they're not switching it up and making it into like a show or a scare zone or a bar overlay. And we're not going to get a photo op and that's it. Like in my mind, this is a house.
Yeah, no, it's a
We've never
house.
seen Five Nights at Freddy's as a house. That's the new way. I'm assuming you're in the same boat.
Oh yeah, there's no argument from me. I mean, it's definitely going to be a house, and if it isn't, I'll be the first to say I'm actually surprised. But I mean, it's the one property that I think you have to do as a house. I don't think it would work as a scare zone. I just don't think you can make it effective enough outside. You wouldn't be able to pull it off. It needs to be in its own enclosed space.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably barely move in those costumes as is, let alone
right.
walk around a scare zone.
And to be honest with you, like we've said the last couple of times we've talked about it, I don't necessarily think it's going to be strictly costumes. I think a lot of it's going to be puppetry.
Yeah, I can unfortunately see that. I don't want to see that, but I'm much more in the scare actor role versus that mechanical stuff. But I would not worry, folks. I really wouldn't. I think the wording was just done because they weren't ready to fully release everything, because it does I think it threw a wrench into their announcement schedule, because I think that the plan was today is going to kickstart it, the 5th.
Yep.
So that's it. And not for nothing, I've been saying the 5th for a while. Don't want to toot my own horn, but beep beep. So let's get into the stuff that did happen today. So we're going to start with all the tickets and stuff, and then we'll make our way to Fallout, because that's kind of the big chunk of things. Single night tickets are here. Frequent fear passes are not. Those always drop later. There's zero reason to panic. They are coming. I would assume sometime in early to mid-July is when they will probably drop the frequent fear passes. But we did get the single night tickets. Pricing, I don't have the last year's in front of me, but they seem to be pretty close on. They range anywhere from 80, mid 80s to those 120. So not really breaking the bank. So $80 for like a weekday, 107 to 120 for those peak days. And they kind of jump up in price as you get closer towards October. The one interesting thing on here is that September 18th is a Thursday. That is blocked off. There is no horror nights that night. I'm assuming it's a private, previously bought out event.
Yeah.
So what they did was they added Tuesday the 16th.
Oh, well, at least they're doing that. I mean, they could have easily just said like, well, you're down a day this year. So
yep.
That's good.
So that's
I'm glad
cool.
they did something.
Yeah. So we have the 16th, the 17th, no 18th, and then we have the 19th and 20th, 21st. So pretty cool. It'll be interesting. I'm curious to see how well attended that Tuesday is. That might be a little freebie premium screen night for the locals.
Could be.
Because I think people, even if they haven't had their tickets yet for Horror Nights, I would assume maybe some would have already previously booked their flights and planned around Wednesday to Thursday or Thursday to Sundays, so that way they know.
My cat is going to take down the entire backdrop. So continue talking. I don't mean to cut off the podcast. Just give me 1 second.
Okay, I'll let you tame the cat. But I would assume that some people were already planning those Wednesday through Sunday trips, whether they had the tickets or not. So my gut says the 16th might be a little less attended. That might be a pretty strong local night. So, hey, if you haven't bought your flights yet, that might be a week to kind of set your sight on if you want to maybe do the 16th through the 19th, the 16th through the 20th, or something like that, because you might be able to get a lesser attended event on that Tuesday, which would be nice. So that's the single night tickets. Obviously, it runs all the way through November 2nd, ending the event on that day. So that Tuesday, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that one.
A
So
little different. Yeah.
I think that's when I kind of come back. I'm going to be out of town and that weekend, the 12th, 13th, and the 14th, I think. So by the time I get back from shooting a wedding, I'll be ready to hit the ground on Tuesday, which is nice, leading up to a little birthday trip. Express passes also got dropped, so you can buy those to add those onto your tickets, and they are pretty staggering. They are more than the event ticket itself.
Yeah.
Just in comparison, just looking at opening day single day ticket is $103. The express for that opening day is $160. It's wild. They're pushing these single days, but they range from 160 to, let's say, $200 on those prime nights, and they float around that 120 to 150 range for those slower, quote unquote slower nights.
Yeah.
It does reach a peak price of, let's see, the highest. I think the highest, weirdly enough, is October 11th. And that's $260.
Wow.
At Express.
Is that a Saturday?
It's a Saturday, but I don't know why.
Yeah, it's weird.
Maybe by the last 5 years accumulated, maybe that week is one of the highest attended because it's leading up to Halloween, but it's not quite.
It could be something to do with attendance numbers.
But the Saturday prices for Express for just October, it goes 240, 260, 250, 250. So there is that peak of 260 right in that early October window. So it's definitely
expensive.
If you're here for like a day.
The only reason I would get it, if I was coming in for like 1 or 2 days max,
Mhm.
I think the 2 something is worth it potentially, but it depends on who you are. We've talked about this before when we went through it, our tips and tricks last year. I'm sure if we do the same thing, we'll probably talk about the same thing again this year. Express is worth it if your plan is to do everything as much as you can within a day or two. Outside of that, if you're coming for more than 2 days, you don't need to Express.
Yeah, it's
outside of just not wanting to wait in line. Like if you're just someone that the premium's worth not waiting in line, then by all means go right at it. I think that it's totally worth it at that point. But if you're someone that is not quite sure you want to spend that kind of money, and is it worth spending that kind of money on? Again, it depends on what type of person you are. If you're only going for Fallout, FNAF, whatever the big IPs we're getting, you really don't need Express because you're going to spend most of your time doing those houses specifically. But if you're someone that is a completionist or you need to do everything, and you're going to be able to be there more than 3 days, and you don't need it. But if you're only there for 1 or 2 days, then yeah, it's probably worth spending the 2.
Yeah, it's definitely a luxury. It's there are rumors swirling that Express passes will not be able to be tacked on to frequent fear passes. We don't know that yet.
We don't know that yet, but
I think I did see something about Hollywood that their frequent fear passes were allowing you to pick days to add Express on. I don't know if it's at a discounted rate. I really didn't look into that. I probably should have, but there wasn't, from what I understand it, there wasn't an option to do an Express pass attached to it for every single night.
Right.
So they may be leaning towards.
I wonder if it'll be
nights.
A one price, and then you pick and choose which dates you want to use it on, or maybe there'll be a tiered system where you can buy it just for Wednesdays or just for Saturdays or just for something like that. And then there's a set price for all those Saturdays, something like that.
Yeah. If they did a lower price to add on, like instead of say it's $800 extra for Express Pass, if they did something that was like $300 to $400 and I got to pick 3 or 4 days to add Express, I might do that.
Yeah.
But that $800 is tough. We've talked behind the scenes and on air.
It's a steep cost. I mean, you're going from a $300 pass to over $1,000, just to skip lines. And like I said, if if you're spending the money on frequent fear and you're only planning on going 3 or 4 times, don't buy the freaking fear pass. Just buy. I mean, well, I don't want to say that because
Depends your
obviously
days.
it's cheaper, but so I mean, I guess there are very specific scenarios. Like if you're someone that doesn't want to wait, wants to do everything as much as you can, and you're only coming in for 3 or 4 days, so you're getting the frequent fear pass, you might want to spend on the. I'm sorry, yeah, frequent fear pass, and then spend on the express if they allow you to. For me, it's like if it's like last year, it's like an $800 premium on top of the $300 pass for 4 days. That's just not worth it for me.
No,
It
God,
really
no.
isn't.
No.
It's a
No,
lot
they
of
would
money.
have to, if they're limiting it to X amount of days, it has
Yeah.
to be lowered.
I mean, to be fair, I kind of wish they did it more of like a VIP experience when it comes to like if you go to like a festival, for example, for music festival or something like that. If you buy the premium for the VIP, not only do you get like the special seating area where you're a little bit closer and it's a little bit less, hectic. You're not in the big crowd of people. If they added something on top of just getting through the lines quicker, like if they're like, hey, you get like a free snack every night or free food item or some free non-alcoholic beverages or something like that, then it might become a little more doable, I think.
Yeah.
But as of right now, if it's just to skip the lines, it's just not worth the money.
Yeah, they should do something like that too. Because one, if like you said, one food item, that's nothing
Yeah,
to Universal.
and that's negligible. I mean, you're working food service,
Yeah.
you understand that. Like,
It costs
it
$2
couldn't
a plate.
possibly be that bad if, like, the 10,000 people that buy the $800 express pass, whatever the number happens being, if you're like, hey, you get a free food item up to a $15 number or something like that, it can't be that egregious that Universal couldn't make it up.
No, God, no, absolutely not. Especially with all the money, they're charging $800 and extra, and not there's no extra cost to that on their end.
Right.
It doesn't cost them more
they're
to
not
run
losing
express
anything.
lines.
Right. They're
No.
just gaining an extra $800 on top of people.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm sure we'll talk about Express on frequent fears once those frequent fear passes drop. But yeah, so Premium Scream Night, that was another additional drop. That also is back from last year. This is the night before Halloween Horror Nights opens. So it's that Thursday, the 28th, and the whole event is up and running. It's in the name, premium. So this was $375, around $399 after tax, because I pulled the trigger on it. I heard way too many good things about it last year to potentially miss out on it. From what I heard last year, it's a limited capacity. So that's the biggest part of the premium, I think, for me. But also, they do stagger you through the houses. So it's not the conga line. So you do get to experience these houses in the
More like a traditional haunted house, yeah.
correct, yeah, the correct way that they're supposed to be done. Obviously, when Horror Nights is up and running, you feasibly
Impossible.
can't do that. You can't. It's
Yeah,
your
you
lines
can't
would
do it.
triple, quadruple. You'd be waiting 7 hours for Five Nights at Freddy's house if they staggered the lines. But that's what you get with this pass. So shorter wait times, staggered, limited capacity, day before. But you also do get all you care to enjoy select food and non-alcoholic beverages. Alcoholic beverages may be purchased. You also get one souvenir credential and lanyard per guest. And if you don't have a universal pass, you do get free self-parking that night as well. That's included in this pass. Also, not that this is going to change what I wear, but premium Scream Night guests may wear costumes subject to costume policy. So I am going to just go out on a whim and say I'm not dressing up, but the option is out there for you. So, like I said, this was, I think, because I purchased this, that's where my mindset sort of went more towards Express, like solidifying the fact that I'm not going to do it if it is an option. I've never done it, so I don't know truly what I'm missing, but I really wanted to attend to this last year. And when I saw the price, this was the first time they ran it. I think last year it was like maybe $350. It might have gone up like $25 or something. And I was like, it's in my mind, all I was getting was access to the event one day before. And for me, that wasn't necessarily worth it. But then when I saw people's posts and talked to everybody that I trust, they're like, it was really slow. Like not slow, but they really did limit the capacity, so it was worth the price. Now I hope not that many of you listen to this and go and buy a ticket because I want less people there for me. But because I'm so unselfish, I will put it out there that that was the word on the street for last year.
Well, you also have to hope that Universal doesn't say, "Oh, it was a success. Let's open it up for more people."
More
And they
people,
don't
yeah.
limit as many as they did last year. That's the only thing you got to worry about, is that like it's not nearly as limited as it was, and that it does fill up. But I can't imagine that it'll be much worse than what it was. So
I'm willing to take the chance, and
definitely
then if
worth the $3.99.
yeah, and if I get there and it's wild, I just don't do it next year. That's just really what it
Right.
comes down to. But I'm excited. This was something, like I said, I wanted to do last year, but I didn't pull the trigger on it. I can't remember back if it's sold out or not, or if they cut off sales of it. I'm not sure. But if this was something you were thinking about, you might want to act on it a little bit sooner
Yeah,
rather
don't
than
wait.
later, just in case. Obviously, with like anything, there is a limit to what they're going to sell. We don't
Right.
know what the limits are, and we don't know how many have sold. So you're kind of playing with fire a little bit if you're just going to wait until the week of or
Right.
whatever. Um, but yes, so I will be there for that premium Scream night. What else? So we got our RIP tours also announced. So RIP tours, there are two different versions. There is, and I might be messing the names up, but I believe it's just public and VIP. So if you're doing a public RIP tour, I believe what that is you get kind of front of the line access to each house once and a little tour throughout the park of the scare zones, and your guide will kind of tell you a more in-depth story of each house. So before you go into it, you understand everything a little bit more. Now, the private RAP tours, that is where you are with only people you booked with. A public one you can get, if you're a party of two, you might get grouped up with like two or three more parties of two or three or four. So you're not with just the people you booked with. If you do the private, it is just your group, and you pretty much get to free for all the park. You can do any house, whatever order you want, as many times as you want. If you want, like if you did it last year and you're like, I want to do goblins 50 times in a row, you're going to do goblins 50 times in a row. There is also a special VIP bar where you can go at any time if you want to kind of cool off. It's last year it was up above Jimmy Fallon, so you could overlook the queue in front of Rip Ride Rocket. Really cool. I had the pleasure of being invited onto one last year. It was just really, really fun. I haven't ever done one of these before. I would like to look at the prices just to see exactly what they are. I think you might have to call in for groups, but if I'm looking at a public RIP tour right now, they are somewhere in that 4 to 450 range per person. And I think that's just for a public one. But if I think you might get a price break if you're doing like a private with like 12 people, that might bring the price down and you can kind of split that cost up amongst your group. But I would like to do an RIP tour again at some point. I don't know if we'll do one this year or not. That might be something down the line in the future where that'd be cool to like plan like a one through the podcast, and like we can obviously not pay for it for you, but we could do it with people that are around in the same time, because that would be a fun little thing. You also do get what they call a pre-tour reception. So you get brought up to the front and you could see like the opening ceremonies, and you also get multiple food items that you're going to be seeing throughout the park, but you get it right there, and you can get food and drink right there before you start, so you don't go in on a complete empty stomach. But it's definitely worth it. Like I said, you'd have to look at your party size and when you're coming. If you were thinking single day ticket plus express, you might be close to that public RIP price. And we just talked about some RIP or some express passes were $180 to 200. So you're looking at like $320, $350. You might want to think about just getting a public RIP pass for an extra $100 or an extra $50. You're guaranteed all 10 houses, and then you can go be released after the tour and still continue the event until 2 a.m. and redo houses if you want.
Yep.
So
And you get food too.
And you get some food too. So that's also not a bad option at all.
I'm gonna spend the money. I'm spending it on that before I spend it on Express Pass. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you get that little. The guide is really a nice caveat to it, where you get some house explanations, some deep lore, and stuff like that. It's a really cool experience. Our favorite things to do, the Unmasking the Horror tours. They're back. The 3 house and the 6 house. The 3 house, unfortunately, again this year, starts before the event. It starts August 22nd. Hate it.
So weird.
Hate it.
I mean, I'll admit that there wasn't as much given away as I had worried about the first time they did it last year. I was worried that like they were just gonna let people take pictures and it was gonna go up on the internet and people were just gonna ruin houses for people. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. But I still think it's weird. I think it's really strange if you, unless you're someone that just isn't gonna go through the house with lights on and you just need to be there to see everything up close without being scared. I get it. But still, like if you're someone that enjoys the event and goes to the event, why ruin it for yourself? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't want to see any of these houses for the first time with the lights on. No, I can't stand it. And you had the benefit of not like, you don't really go on like Twitter and like Instagram.
I don't use the internet like everyone else does. So you're right.
There
I am
was
off of Facebook and Instagram. For the
there
most
was
part.
some stuff floating around, so like it did make its way out there. I can't remember if they told people that they weren't allowed to take pictures or
No,
not.
I think they were.
They were allowed to.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too.
Because I think when we were on the 6 house tour, we asked, I forget a tour guide's name, but we asked her if like if they were allowed to take pictures. She's like, yeah, it was pictures up.
Yeah,
just like a normal tour.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
That part bothers me. Like if you're choosing to go on a tour prior to it opening and you're taking pictures and putting it all over the internet so you can get internet clout, I don't like you.
No, not a fan. But the 3 house tours are, and both of these are reasonably priced. I don't think they increase at all. The 3 house tours are around $100 a piece. It really goes from like $90 to $110. So like you can't beat that. I think they might have gone down a little bit.
I don't know. I've never done the 3 house, so I don't know. I don't know what the difference is every year, like price wise. But I mean, I'll let you go into the 6 house. 6 house is the one that we tend to do more. But
yeah, but I mean, $100, not bad at all. You get a lot of information on these tours. You spend probably 30 minutes, I'd say, per house.
Yeah.
Walking in there, walking through each room, and kind of really going in depth.
Definitely an experience. It's an experience worth doing if you're a big fan. Like if you're someone like us that goes all the time, year to year, doesn't like miss anything when it comes to Halloween or Horror Nights or whatever in general. This is definitely something that's worth taking advantage of. But, again, it not so much if you're someone that doesn't really care so much about the event that like in that way. Like you come every once in a while, you're like, yeah, this is fun. I'd do this again next year. But, I don't really put that much stock or effort into knowing everything there is to know about it. It may not be worth it, but for a lot of people that this is their life, it's definitely worth it.
It's fun. It really is fun. The 6 house tours, the first one that it's showing is August 31st. So that would be the Sunday of opening weekend. I would be surprised if they didn't have it on that Saturday, that opening Saturday as well, but we'll see.
Maybe there's too much just going on opening night for them to do that.
Yeah, could be. The first one is $220, but then throughout the weeks, it's around $200. Let's just call it $190 to $200.
That's what it was last year. Right around $200.
But this year they also did add for a 6 house tour. There is a lunch buffet now included, which is nice because previously And I would like this if it sped it up too, because I think they gave us like about an hour break in between the three houses where you could kind of go to City Walk, go wherever, get food. You just have to be back at the designated time. That I always wish was a little sped up, just because for me, I love these tours, but towards the end of the sixth house, like when we're almost done with five and we got one more, I'm like, all right, I'm getting a little burnt out a little bit just because it's a
It's a
information
long day.
overload.
The six
It's a
house is
long one.
definitely a long day. You're there for a while. It's
Yeah.
not like some people may underestimate how much walking it is and how much, standing it is and how much time it is. Again, worth it, but yeah,
Yes.
it's something you got to be prepared for. But yeah, having the included buffet makes sense because for one, you're expected to be out gone and back in an hour, which obviously is never always a certain or a guarantee because certain people just forget the time or they take their time and generally they will just get going if you're not back in time, but they tend to wait. And we've never had an issue. Like everyone in our groups that whenever we've done it have always been back with time to spare. So that's not really an issue. But for what you pay for it, it's actually nice that they're going to include the lunch option now instead of just saying you've got time for lunch. Now
Yeah. See you later.
we're actually going to include it in the cost of your ticket, which is nice.
Yeah. Yep. And then the last little ticket that was dropped was the Scream Early ticket. This is you can add on to I think any single day or whatever. It's $55. And it gets you into studios at 3 p.m. So you are able to get into a Stay and Scream lot, essentially, little holding pen area, and get access to these houses before because once park opens at 6 for Horror Nights, usually around like 5 to 5:15 they'll start certain houses, so you can get like 3 or 4 houses done really quick before the masses start coming in, and
Yeah.
typically those are the more premier IPs that open early because they want to start that process. So again, I mean, I'm more apt to get a Scream Early ticket. I mean, I don't need to, but I would be more apt to get a Scream Early ticket than an Express Pass.
Yeah.
It's a third of the price, and it will kickstart you about 3 to 4 houses. And if you're getting those long wait ones out of the way, that's when you could
Yeah.
start attacking the originals as they open at 6:15.
Right. And by the time
Whatever.
like the first few people are getting into the park, you've already done 2 houses. It really is worth it.
Yep,
Stay and Scream
because
is definitely something that you should consider, especially
yeah,
if you're coming in for the park, like just in general for like the weekend or the week to do Horror Nights and the parks. Do Stay and Scream like the nights you plan on going to Horror Nights because it's just makes the nights so much easier. Because then by the
and
time
that
it's like super busy, you've already done a bunch and you're kind of like, I don't need to take, I can just take my time. I can get some snacks or get a food item or a drink or something and chill in like a scare zone or something. And then as it gets later and people start to filter out, then you can obviously get into houses without waiting in line after that too.
and that's only if you don't have a Universal Park Pass already. If you have a pass to the park
Oh,
that
right, true.
day, you'll still be able to do the Stay and Scream option, but this is strictly if you are just coming for Halloween Horror Nights. So those are all the tickets that dropped. I know it's a lot, but we got that little ticket dump. We got all those extras popped out there. Now we can focus on the 9 or 8 houses remaining, scare zones, show inevitably, and then those frequent fear passes when they do drop. So let's get into the big portion, the big thing everybody's been waiting for, Fallout. TV show, very clearly the TV show. We got Lucy, Maximus, and the Ghoul on there. The little blurb that they put out: face your fears in a post-apocalyptic. Oh God, another post-apocalyptic. Whatever, it's Fallout. Whatever. Face your fears in a post-apocalyptic LA devastated by nuclear war. Based on the hit show and game franchise Fallout, you'll travel into the vaults and be attacked by raiders alongside Lucy. You'll escape to the wasteland and confront the bounty hunter, the Ghoul. You'll even encounter Maximus with the Brotherhood of Steel and see T-60 power armor. So I may be doing a deep dive video.
Puppy dogs.
Dogs are screaming. I may do a little video later on, kind of not deep diving into the franchise, but giving a good overview of like all these IPs. But the reason I think that they chose the streaming service route, the show route, is because, and Seamus can attest to this a little bit more, the games are very kind of choose your own adventure style. Like, it's very open world.
Yeah.
Each game is a different year, different character, different setting. It would be hard to kind of pick and choose from 5 like main series games and have it like make sense cohesively. The series at least lets you follow one storyline. Because if you picked stuff from Fallout 2 and then from 3 and from 4 and from New Vegas, they're all over the place. Because I think 4 was more in Boston, and obviously New Vegas is over in Vegas, so it makes a little bit more sense to me show wise. It is interesting they say based on the hit show and game. I mean, I guess you have to throw it out there as well, but I don't I don't know how much we'll be pulling from stuff in the game. But I mean, does that matter to you at all? You're a fan of both, obviously, but
No, it doesn't matter to me. I think the show makes more sense just for Universal's sake. It's like The Last of Us. I mean, granted, that one was more based on the game, actually. I keep going back to that, but then in reality, that was definitely done with the game designers and with Sony.
Because it was Naughty Dog Presents.
Yeah, it was Naughty Dog that kind of worked on that. So it wasn't so much the show. So I guess I'm wrong in that situation, in that sense. But at the same time, it makes quite a bit of sense to base this on the show because of the fact that that's a self-contained story within the Fallout world, rather than, like you said, all the games, which are generally, I wouldn't say that necessarily make your own story, because it's definitely a contained story in each one of the games, but it is still an RPG, an action RPG, so it's a lot of character building. You kind of build your character up and give them however you feel like the stats should be, but it's still a self-contained story somewhat, but they are very diverse. So each game takes place in a different location, like you were saying. Like 4 was in Boston, in the surrounding suburbs of Boston. Vegas was obviously in Vegas. 3 was in Washington, D.C., in that surrounding area. So generally the games are pretty separate of one another, although taking place in the same world and the same timeline. So it makes sense to follow the show. It's recent. It just came out not that long ago. There's another season coming out soon. Most people are familiar with the show than they are with the game. I think there's a lot of gamers out there that are fans of the event, but I think there's more people that are fans of maybe TV or of some of these stuff, some of the stuff as it comes out as TV, as a TV show. I would wager to guess that if it wasn't a show and it wasn't as popular as it was, probably wouldn't have gotten a house. I'm not sure this ever would have worked outside of there being the show that had come out and it being so popular. I think if it wasn't popular or it didn't hit as well as it did, I still don't think it would have happened as like it did.
I think, like you said, I think it has to have been proven in multiple forms of media for it to kind of be brought up to this HHN level. And like you said with The Last of Us, if The Last of Us video game series had Last of Us 1 through 5 and they were all different characters, all different settings, I think they would have chose the route of the TV show, whatever was easier to follow storyline wise. But IGN, which was, again, so this announcement also, and we're going to sidetrack a little bit, but this announcement was semi-flubbed as well, because all of the publications, everything I saw, all posted their articles right at 1 o'clock. We didn't get anything from Horror Nights until like 105, 106, 107. So I'm curious if on the back end, because of the Five Nights stuff, maybe they were, I don't know, maybe they thought it was going out at 2 or 1:30 and they had to scramble to like release it on their end. But every publication, 1 o'clock on the dot, the articles went out. Besides Horror Nights, they were the ones
that sounds like it's more of a Horror Nights thing. That's Universal's fault. Like these articles wouldn't have been able, like they had all their press stuff ready to go. Like they had the information before 1. So Universal not dropping something at 1 o'clock, that's on them. Like
and maybe that was the plan. Maybe it was like, hey, let all the publications out and then we'll kind of do it.
Probably.
But in the IGN article, they did make note Guests will first enter Vault 33 and follow Lucy as she tries to escape a bloody massacre, while also learning of an evil hidden secret, which we know from the TV show. If you haven't seen it, then go watch it. But there's an evil secret out there.
A few of
She
them, but yeah,
does.
there is one major one.
Yeah. The journey will then take guests outside the vault into the wasteland, and we will encounter scavengers, raiders, rad roaches, everything through that. And then we will also meet Maximus with the T60 armor, the ghoul, and we will also visit the Super Duper Mart. So that is pretty cool.
Sweet.
They do give a little bit more details in this article, but other than that, we don't need to go too in depth. But we're getting a little bit of everything. That's the main thing. So I'm excited for it. I feel like I just rewatched the show. I don't think Jamie watched it, so I think I might use that as an excuse to
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
again
rewatch it again. I've only watched it once.
It is such a good watch. If you have not seen it yet, I mean, I feel like you will be doing it anyways, but I think you'll enjoy it. And I know this might fall in that camp of like, well, it's not the series itself isn't super horror. The games follow a little bit more of the horror sense, but it's still a very fun, horrific world. It's in the future, but it's got the 50s vibes. It's got that post-war, like hide under your desk with an explosion comes around. And it's such a hybrid of time frame, because you got the Pip Boys, you have this like almost Jetson style futuristic advancements, but it's stuck in the 50s as far as like conversation, attire, media, TV, logos, propaganda, stuff like that. So I'm really excited. I know Seamus is excited. Jamie, she could probably, yeah, she's probably excited, I guess, but it's not the IPs that she's really, really looking for. But I'm just glad we finally got the announcement. We have official stuff to talk about. We don't have to just play what is it going to be and when's it going to drop, and is it the video game, is it the TV show? It's officially the TV show from Amazon Prime. So that's that. Any final thoughts on Fallout before we talk about the merch a little bit?
No, I mean, I've kind of said my piece. I'm excited. Might be the first IP I've gotten in a while that I'm like absolutely chomping at the bit for. Cannot wait. It's gonna take a lot for this house to disappoint me, so I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm. And this is one that I'm okay with revisiting post-apocalyptic, because it really doesn't
I know,
feel that
I
way.
get it, because I say the same thing. It's like I hate post-apocalypse stuff. Oh my god, can we do something different? But
Wait,
then
Fallout?
again, then we get Fallout, and I'm like, let's go! I'm raring to go. But I mean, I don't
It's
know.
different. It feels different than the zombie.
I'm also just selfish. It's just like it's something that I enjoy. I like it, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be like if I'm just like, I don't ever want to see another Halloween series again, and then they're like Halloween 3. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, I want that. That's fine.
Exactly.
But it does feel different, like with that 50s vibe. It doesn't feel as like just
It's
bland,
kind of going to give us
depressing.
the same. It'll give us that same aesthetic as Bugs in a lot of ways, because Bugs was kind of that like 50s bubble pop, whatever, I don't know what you'd call it, but it gives you that like weird 50s thing.
Hope.
Yeah, with something crazy going on, something pretty
Yeah.
extreme going on. Plus, we're gonna have big bugs again in this one, so.
And you'll do this one more than once.
Yes, this one. Oh yeah, no, I will face my fears of gigantic cockroaches because I get to walk through a fucking vault. Yes, I'm excited. I'm so pumped, so excited.
Is this is like behind the scenes stuff, but does like Patrick or anything, does he play Fallout? I know you play with
I
Sean
mean,
sometimes.
they're not as big of fans of this game as I am, but yeah,
Yeah.
they've played it before, so they are relatively excited about it, or he is, anyways. Sean won't
Yeah.
come, but
No,
Patrick
God
will
no.
be. But I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Bring it on. So yes, if we're gonna do a deep dive in Fallout, I hope that I can help with that, because your resident Fallout expert would love to.
Yeah. I'll pass the reins over to you. You can do that one. But yeah, so that's the I keep saying first announcement. It's kind of the first announcement, but other than the Five Nights snafu. But we also got our preview merch that came out with it as well. The shirt is actually really cool. I really like the design on this shirt. It's not a black t-shirt. It is more of like a sand beige cream style, but it's got the big yellow Fallout logo. It's got the ghoul up front and center, little explosion in the background, and it's got the dog with the hand on there. And then it looks like, oh, I think it's only the ghoul. Then on the bottom, it's the ghoul and the dog. But in the little nuclear explosion, it says Universal Halloween Horror Nights 2025. I do wish it said 34, but that's like a losing battle at this point. But you saw this design, right? Is this going to be in the closet?
I like this shirt. Now they need to hurry up and show us like what I need to see what the merch looks like, because one of two things are either going to happen. Either one, it's going to be a t-shirt and that's it, and I'm like, all right, cool, I like this t-shirt, I'm buying this t-shirt.
Did you not see the t-shirt?
Oh, no. I saw the t-shirt. My point is like that's the only thing, because a lot of times what we see with some of these big properties is they have like one thing, like they have like a t-shirt or whatever, and you're like, all right, cool, I like that t-shirt. Oh my god, Quiet Place last year. Like the Quiet Place shirt was pretty cool. I bought it, or you bought it for me, whatever. I have the shirt. I enjoyed the shirt.
Have it.
So if all they do is the shirt, I'm cool with it because the shirt's cool. But if they drop some of the merch that I'm just get rolling around in my brain, I'm gonna spend a stupid amount of money on it. I'm gonna regret, at least initially, all of the money that I'm gonna spend on the merch that they release for Fallout. If they do what I think they're gonna do, I hope they do.
They have to.
But we'll see. I mean,
they have to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. That Nuka-Cola bottle will be really hard to make, but if they find a way to do it, Universal can just have everything.
Plastic,
everything. Just take it all. Take all my money.
Yeah, and that's I would think one of the selling points of getting a property like this is the amount of money you can make back, not off ticket sales, but off of merchandising. Like you have to have a Nuka-Cola bottle. You have to have. I'm hoping they sell Pip Boys. I'm hoping they sell like
Pip
little
Boys would be sick.
Pip Boys, like stuff like that. You could do a lot. I'm hoping they have little, those little shoulder buddies. Mm-hmm. If you do a little Rad Roach shoulder buddy,
that would be that would be kind of cool. Either that or
even just like a little, they're gonna have a shirt with the the thumbs up from the Vault Boy.
Oh yeah. But if they had like a little, even like a dog meat shoulder buddy, the dog, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, they're gonna print money with this, that's for sure. On top of that, they also released a cup, which is fine. It's similar. It's just like a little Stanley cup kind of thing, or a thermal cup. And it's got the ghoul on it. It's got the dog with the hand. Does the dog have a name? I don't remember the dog's name. Oh, Dog Meat. Okay.
I mean, in the show, I don't remember if they actually call him Dog Meat, but he's Dog Meat in the game.
Okay. All right. And it just says Fallout with the logo. It's fine. I'm not gonna be buying the cup, but the t-shirt.
I want a T60. I want a T60 helmet. That's what I want.
You could buy an actual full T60. It's $1,300.
I mean, hey, if Disney can do Stormtrooper outfits, I want a set of T60 armor.
Yeah.
Universal, make it happen.
They can make that into a helmet at least.
Oh, for sure. Come on.
Even if it's not a wearable one.
I would, at the very least, I will take a T60 popcorn bucket.
There we go. Now we're talking. If Marvel can make the giant,
listen, if I can get 7 goddamn little boo shit every year, I want a T60 helmet.
Right. You can take the little boo budget.
You can make that happen.
Away and put it into T60s.
Don't lie to me, Universal. I know you can make that happen.
The last little piece of new merch, which is actually really cool. It's like a little stained glass window with a gargoyle on it. And it says, Universal Halloween Horror Nights 2025. And there's 5 little like cutout pieces. And today they dropped, it's like, it looks like it's like clear acrylic, but it's the ghoul and it fits into like the bottom left, like window pane piece.
Oh, cool.
So I think they're going to release 5 pieces and you can put each of the IPs in that. So that's pretty cool.
No idea.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's a way to get people to continuously buy stuff. Not that a lot of us have that problem because we're going to buy it anyways, but if you buy the frame and the little ghoul guy, you're probably going to be the completionist and buy each little pockets thing. So I think that's pretty cool. It's something new that I haven't really seen before. So, but that's that. Wow, yeah, we actually tore through all that information pretty quick. We're only right at about an hour or so at this point. So that's really all the new information that came out. Now that we are having announcements, I'm curious if Hard Night Nightmares will be putting out their final spec map shortly. I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw that in a couple weeks, maybe once these other IPs get announced, or even sooner, just because they do typically like to put out that final map closer to the event once stuff is being rolled out. But yeah, that's really all we have for brand new stuff. As
Anything
far
about
as what
FNAF you wanna just bring up real quick, or because I know you
uh,
watched the movie again, right? You actually gave it a
I
full watch through.
started, I didn't finish it.
Oh, you didn't?
I did start it. It's still the movie is still kind of
It's
where
meh.
I think it is. Yeah, it's fine. Um, I'm not attached to the video game properties.
Neither
I
am I.
don't love the movie, but I love the setting. I love Haunted
Mhm.
Chuck E. Cheese. So
Yep,
I'm
I'm with you
I'm
there.
completely fine with it. Um, I know people are kind of up in arms again. Everybody always picks a property every year, and like,
I think
there's gonna
FNAF
be
is
too
gonna
many damn teenagers,
yeah,
and
and
this
that's the
is
thing.
that one
FNAF
this
is
year.
like I know that the people that are like those people that are like, oh, the teenagers are the fucking worst. Well, the FNAF is what's going to bring those teenagers in, unfortunately. And
Yeah,
Universal knows it. Like, it's a
yeah.
massive property, it's a massive IP that they know is going to sell tickets. And I truly think that FNAF is going to be the biggest draw for this season. Um,
Probably.
I think it'll have the biggest weight consistently. Um, I think there's just a lot of people that recognize what FNAF is, regardless if they played the game or not. We were having this
Mhm.
discussion last night. There's a
Yeah.
lot of properties where it's like, if you ask like a normie on the street, do you know what The Last of Us is, or do you know what this, that, or the other is? They may, because of the show or whatever property it is that it was based on, or at least what was popular at the time. FNAF, I think, is just something that like people know what it is. Like my parents would recognize what Five Nights at Freddy is. They've never played the game, never seen the movie, but it's so out there in the internet zeitgeist that we have today that people just recognize it. And it's big with the kids. And that's really, unfortunately or fortunately, depending how you look at it, is what's going to drive attendance to the event.
Mhm.
Is that so?
It's
Good luck on your Fridays and Saturday nights, people,
yeah.
because get ready. The kids ain't getting
Yeah.
any. They're not getting any better. That's for sure.
You're just getting older.
Right.
Yeah, it's no Willy's Wonderland, but I'll take it.
No, I mean, shit. I would, of course. Do I want a house full of Nicolas Cage fighting fucking giant robots? Of course I do. But
Yes, of
I'll
course.
take this as a consolation prize. That's fine.
Yeah. Um, so what do you think will be the next announcement? I think we all said Terrifier for the first one. We were all
Yeah, I mean,
wrong.
to be fair, I am surprised that Terrifier wasn't the first announcement. I know we haven't gotten that confirmed yet, but I think it's pretty well assumed that Terrifier is happening by everybody. So when it
Yeah.
gets announced, or when I should say if it gets announced, um, not many people are going to be like, "Oh, really? I didn't see that coming." But like,
Mhm,
I would say that's got to be the next one, right?
mhm.
I mean, I would think
I
if
mean,
not Terror.
yeah.
No, go ahead. I guess if
I was
not
gonna say, well,
Terror,
next week is Friday the 13th, and
right?
I
That was
know
I was going to say. Yeah.
everyone is saying it's not going to happen. I just won't believe it until it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't happen. I don't know. A lot of the stuff I say on here is like my thoughts, right? Like we don't know information. People listening or people that are following us on Instagram, they might think we know stuff. We really don't. These are our
Don't know
theories.
anything.
And I just until it's Friday the 13th and it doesn't come out, I I just it lines up too perfectly for me. Five Nights, or not Five Nights, Friday the 13th is a trending hashtag across every social media platform, not because of Jason, but because of the date. So maybe they don't want it to get lost in the shuffle, but I view it as the opposite side, that it's a free trending hashtag. I don't know. I'm just gonna go down with the ship on that one. Maybe it doesn't happen, but I just think it's
Yeah.
silly to not do that.
My only pause on that is because we've discussed about how the issues with that property and how to get the rights and everything. If it's a Jason house, it probably will not be called Friday the 13th. It'll be
No.
something else, Jason, whatever.
Yeah.
So does the hashtag really matter if that's the case? Obviously it does, because we all recognize Friday the 13th as Jason's day. Like that's kind of what it is now. So I kind of see why they would do it, but if they don't call the house Friday the 13th because they can't, I don't know how much of that really matters. But I get it. I'm with you. I think that until it doesn't happen, I can't say that it won't.
Yeah. So that's my guess. My whether I'm right or wrong, I'm just going to go down with the ship Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th.
But can you imagine if they announce that next? Like, what a big banger. Like that's good. Golf clap so far.
And then when do they go back to Five Nights? Because they have to announce it again as a house with a little trailer. Because they did, and we didn't mention it, but with Fallout, they did put out a little trailer of it where it's you can check it on their socials, or we have it on our Instagram as well. But it's like the TV Fallout, giving the message of what's happening and stuff like that. So they have little things filmed for all of these. So I would assume Five Nights is getting one, so they'll get like a proper announcement. But I'm just gonna say Friday the 13th. It seems like at this point we're gonna get one a week because we're kind of running out of time.
Yeah.
Spooky Empire is the week after. I'm assuming they will announce something there as well.
Probably, like you guys said, probably be our first original.
I'm thinking, but they might just keep going IPs and drop an IP there too. I don't know.
Maybe I'll be right. Maybe we'll still get Terrifier at the event.
There, yeah. So maybe
Art
it goes,
shows up. You never know.
Maybe it goes Friday and then Terrifier, or so here's my thing. If they don't announce Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th, if we get an announcement on Thursday, I think it's Terrifier.
It's Terrifier, yeah.
If there's no announcement on Thursday, Friday the 13th on that Friday. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I'm still debating if I want to do my Friday the 13th marathon watch along. We'll see. I didn't put that out there yet, but that might be a thing that I do. But that's I don't know. It's a toss up between those two. And you also have WWE still kicking around potentially.
All right, you still get that other one that's a big one. So
Money in the Bank is coming up. I don't know if they do something around Money in the Bank, but SummerSlam's in August. That might be a little bit too late because it seems like they're going to want to push all the IPs out quickly. But we'll see. But we got a fun couple weeks ahead of us because it seems like potentially we could have our episodes all lined up for us, so we don't have to do any homework. Well, homework, but we don't have to do any crazy madness on that end. But I think that's all we got. We mentioned Spooky Empire potentially having a panel, or they have a panel, but a potential announcement. If you haven't heard, we will be at Spooky Empire. We're going to have a vending booth there. We're teaming up with Horrors Untold, so we're going to both be sharing a little table there. We have some merch. We have some t-shirts, buttons, pins, koozies, just some of the little stuff to kind of get the name out there a little bit more. So if you are attending, come say hi. After the panel, I'm sure we're going to try to go live on YouTube through my phone or something like that. We'll find a way to go live to give some sort of instant reaction of whatever is either talked about or announced. You could stop by the booth and catch us while we're recording this. We'll be live, so we can pass a mic over and, kind of discuss a little bit. But we will be there. It's the 20th through the 22nd, Friday through Sunday. I'm excited. They're long, long days. But we hope that you can still come on out to support us and all the other vendors, because when you're a horror merchandise vendor, you do sort of have a limited time frame of when you can really reap the benefits of everything. And with Horror Nights coming around the corner and Horror Nights being there at the panel, I think this should be hopefully a pretty well attended show. So I'm excited for Spooky Empire. We do have our shirts. They're both black shirts. We have the Monsters and Beer shirt, and we have the Let's All Go to the Lobby shirt. Those seem to be the fan favorites. So I think people that maybe don't even listen to the podcast could rock that shirt. I think it's a pretty universally liked
image. Get the shirt and then start listening to the podcast.
Or that. So we'll see. But that's really all I got. Anything else before we hop on out of here?
Nope. I get to go not sleep now because I'm super pumped and super excited, and I'm probably going to rewatch the show all in one shot.
Seamus is up till 7 a.m. watching Fallout. Every day.
And I don't need to get up and work. Fuck it.
Every day until the event. Alrighty, well, that's all we got. Shutter Sundays will be coming back out this Sunday. We will be talking about All Hallows Eve. But until next time, this is Nick.
This is Vault Boy.
Happy Fallout.
And thank you for listening to another episode of Fear and Beer, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on whatever streaming platform you are listening to us on. And you can find us on all of our socials at Fear and Beer Pod.